The teachings of one virtuous man can influence many. Lessons that one generation masters will be handed down to hundreds of generations. Jigoro Kano, the founder of Judo. Judo, the art of living. If you fall 7 times, get up 8 times. Jigoro Kano. From his earliest childhood, Fernando Mogena devoted all his free time to judo. When he joined the police force, he kept up with his training schedule. He organized judo lessons for the police force of Seville. Fernando Mogena has won a number of international competitions. In addition to his sporting achievements, Fernando has also been decorated for his police work. In 2013, the Spanish Minister for the Interior awarded Fernando Mogena with a service medal, which he wears despite his illness. Fernando received one of his medals for saving the lives of the workers during a fire at a chemical warehouse.
We rushed into the scorching heat to try and save as many people as we could. We were lucky. We managed to save 16 people from a horrible death. But after that, 2 of my colleagues and I ended up in the hospital from smoke inhalation. We'd been poisoned by the fumes.
5 years ago, fate altered the course of the life of this strong, brave man. When he was on his honeymoon, Fernando first sensed some strange changes in his body. When he returned home, he was told of the terrible diagnosis, which he found hard to believe. The neurologist who was treating Fernando did not mince his words when he told him his test results.
He told me straight out, without sparing my feelings, that in 2 years I'd be confined to a wheelchair, and in 5 years I'd be dead.
He had only just got married and assumed that his whole life lay ahead of him. He had so many plans, so much he wanted to achieve. You always think your life is going to be normal, like everyone else's, and then like a bolt out of the blue, there's this disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, that no one's ever heard of, which means that Fernando's life has turned out to be very different from other people's.
Fernando's life split into 2 parts, before and after his illness. His health grew progressively worse. Fernando continued with his police work while he was having treatment. He hid his weakness from even his closest friends and tried to carry on as before, but he found it more and more difficult to go out on patrol. Eventually, he had to give up any work that involved physical exertion.
When Fernando started to struggle with his duties, we decided to move him to another post and find him a desk job in the Statistics Bureau, which is where he is still working now.
Every morning, Fernando leaves his wheelchair at home and sets off for the office. This is almost achieving the impossible, since he has virtually no control over his body. His wife Miriam helps him out of the garage of their house, and his colleagues pick him up in a car.
About 2.5 years ago, I noticed that Fernando was finding it difficult to drive. So, I offered to give him a lift to work. He agreed, and since then, I have picked him up at 8 every morning. After which, we go and have a coffee in the Disney Cafe until 8:30. Then we drive to work, and Fernando goes to his desk. He has a special computer with a virtual keyboard to make it easier for him. At the end of the day, his wife Miriam picks him up, and they go home.
I have to say that he sometimes scratches my car when he leans on it, but you can always polish away scratches. I just want to wish him every success in life.
Miriam fell in love with Fernando when she was just a girl. They went out for many years before getting married. Fernando was always a ladies' man, and he and Miriam split up on a number of occasions, only to get together again when they understood that they needed each other. Finally, Fernando, who valued his freedom more than anything, realized that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with Miriam and proposed. It was only a short time before the clouds of fate started to gather over their life together, but it is their love that helps them overcome all the difficulties they face today.
When Fernando chucked his girlfriend, Miriam realized that this was her chance. She set out to catch him this time. They started going out, but Fernando was popular with the girls, and it really got to Miriam. She shed a lot of tears back then, until Fernando realized that she was the only woman for him. They've been together since then, and Miriam has always displayed that utterly sincere and unconditional love, whatever the circumstances.
My family, Miriam and Luna, are the support that keeps me going. Without Miriam, I couldn't keep living with the weight of everything that I've been landed with. I don't know what I'd do without her. She's the driving force behind my life.
After the doctors had diagnosed Fernando's illness, the couple decided they wanted to try for a baby. Miriam knew just how hard it would be for her after the baby was born. But love has to have a continuation in this life, and so their daughter Luna was born. That was the greatest gift for Fernando.
Luna seemed to understand about her father's illness from the moment she was born. Fernando couldn't change her nappy or feed her. When she grew a little older, even though nobody explained his illness to her, Luna started to adapt to it and look for things that he could do with her. She knows exactly what I can do and what her father can do.
¿Cómo hace el papi cuando gana? Muy bien.
Instituto gloria a ti, por tu honor quiero vivir. Viva España, viva el rey, viva el orden y la ley, viva
Part 2. Do not strive to be better than other men. Strive to be better today than you were yesterday. Jigoro Kano. The Spanish judo community has rallied behind Fernando Mogena's fight against his illness. David Zamora, Fernando's friend and fellow judoka, offered to arrange a tournament and called it the Mogena Showdown. Miriam Blasco, the first Spanish woman to have won an Olympic gold for judo, visited the tournament.
When I visited the Mogena Showdown, I was amazed how the judo world had united behind this man's story. The first year, hardly anyone had heard about the tournament. Alberto Contador, the famous Spanish cyclist, really helped by publicizing it and talking about the tournament on television and in the mass media. After that, everyone saw the judo world uniting against this illness in order to support one of its own.
At a real low point in my life, when I felt completely alone, my friend said, "We're all judoka. This battle is the longest and the hardest of your life, but we'll support you in it. This is a real battle, but the true friendships and support are more than I have ever experienced. Not every sport could give you this. Judo is so much more than just a sport."
After the tournament, someone had the idea of using judo to disseminate information about amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. They decided to organize a second tournament. That took place in June 2013 and involved judoka from other countries. The funds raised at the tournament were ploughed into ALS research. With the help of his friends, Fernando Mogena had started to fight this illness, and his example has inspired many other people.
Before and after a showdown, you are two different people. He is our hero, and a hero for many people.
Fernando Mogena was already seriously ill when the Spanish Judo Federation awarded him the rank of 6th Dan. In 2012, Fernando was presented with his red and white belt. While we were filming, Fernando asked his wife Miriam to help him put on his judogi for the first time in 5 years. He had never put on this belt before. For the first time in many years, he went down to the tatami, and despite the fact that Fernando finds it physically very hard to stand, he was the happiest of men with his friends that day.
This is a very moving experience. I've been ill for 5 years now, and this is the first time I've put on my judogi with my 6th Dan belt, which is one of the most important awards. And now, that I'm back. Back on the tatami. Where I once... I feel such... It's everything.